Good evening, friends. Today we will be live with Ms. Raina Khatri. And Hi, Suman. Thank you for joining in. Today our live is with Raina, and Raina is the CEO of Right to Rise. Uh, So she will be joining in very soon. Till that time, let me give you a brief about her. Very scintillating personality. She's kind of impressed me a lot. We met through a very common platform when I joined Iron Lady, and she has been inspiring a lot of women who are building their own ventures. She is the CEO of Right to Rise. She is a Posh and Posco trainer, and also at the same time she's a thought leader. She has been given, she's very active, a motivational speaker. She has her own social enterprise also. When I look at her, there's a lot of good things when she's been inspiring so many people. So the reason that we are talking about it, the topic that we've chosen today is sexual harassment. Rather harassment at home, at school, and at workplace. And Posh and Posco are very strongly spoken about in this context. I've always wanted to know more about it, but it's not often that we come to know stuff about this. So I invited Dr. Ms. Raina to actually come and tell us more things. So while waiting for her to come and join us, let me. I have informed her that we are live. So let me again inform her. See if she's live. No, she's not. So, meanwhile, I would love to have your questions whenever she is there, when she is there, and even before, if you have questions. I have been part of a lot of, I mean, as part of HR, we often come across situations where women are not comfortable sharing. Hi, Naina. Thank you for joining in. Yes, thank you. Yes. Uh, Waiting for you to join in. Wonderful.
Hi.
Hi. I can't hear you. It has to be slightly a bit louder.
Can you hear me now?
Can you tilt the camera a bit?
Yeah, keep it
Yes.
this way. I think this is
Yes.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for joining in and giving us your time. We were talking about you, and we know that you have been CEO, Right to Rise, Posh Specialist. So my first question was, and what I am doing as part of my initiative is trying to get to talk people about what and why they've kind of chosen, what kind of led them to choose this particular field. So you've been doing a lot of work in Posh, and before that, sexual harassment is something which is very something which comes from a very space in a person's heart. So as women, why did you? What kind of motivated you to work with this? Why only Posh? Why particularly? What area? What motivated you to go into this area?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Nupur, and thank you very much, viewers. So I can see Divakar ji, I can see Rupi, I can see a lot of other people. Gaurav, thank you for joining in. Uh, so I I'm basically a professional when I started my career. Just like you and me, we finish our 10th and 12th, and then we don't know what to do, and we think about how do we want to go about. So I told my father I would like to do engineering and then go ahead and do my master's, and then into research, all to do with technical IT. So I was a VLSI chip design engineer. So that's hardcore IT. Now,
Uh-huh.
having done that, of course, somebody who's always on the laptop doing the resource work that we always do, we would not think about coming out in the open talking as an international speaker or a trainer or a mentor. I never knew these words that time. So it was very interesting that when something like this, a 9 to 5 job that you take, and you are always stuck with designing chips, designing circuits, and suddenly you come to a thought that what you're doing is highly knowledgeable, highly known, highly understood, and you are very well paid, but yet there is some void in your life that you need to do. There is
Absolutely.
something that you still want to give away to the world. Okay. And I don't know, I've always had this, you can call it kira, you can call it a worm, you can call it that you have to do something in a person's life to make it valuable. Okay. You can keep doing your 9 to 5 job, you can keep doing your course at home, you can keep doing the same thing, getting up in the morning, doing the same course and then finishing up in a day. But if you have to look back in a day, what more did you do productive than yesterday? Like even now in pandemic, I think we are all struggling with a lot of challenges. But every day I see is that did I do something more to what I did yesterday? Maybe I didn't read a book yesterday. I read 2 pages. I could have read five today. Maybe I didn't exercise too much, so maybe I could have gone for a walk and half an hour more. Maybe I could have picked up the call and spoken to another two friends. So there was always this urge of why am I not feeling satisfied about what I am? Because highly educated, competitive world, paying with a nice 5 6 figure salary, a very good corporate house, uh, being abroad, and everything. So when I came back, I think there were a list of things that happened in my life that I lost a lot of elders, and every time I reciprocated that they were always being appreciated by people across the globe, even though they didn't exist. So, in short, they probably did something like listening to them, hearing to them, being there for them, probably writing to them, leaving a legacy behind. Okay, and that made me think, what am I doing with my life? With the little resources that you have, why can't you create a massive legacy for people to fall back or think back that Rena had done something in her life? Of course, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. Just like every other person, I was only thinking that how do I go about it? Like we are all question marks all the time that how do we find a mentor? How do we find growth in our career path? So that was the thing running in my mind. Then I came across the field of training, and we keep hearing this train the trainer and all these things that come up in the newspaper with the biggest brands. And I kept on learning. I got into coaching, did breakthrough coaching, and finally I came to this space of Posh. Okay, I did one training, and this one training actually got me to understand that it's not just a training. It's not like you just go, you're given a content, you deliver and come back, that most people do. Okay. For people, training means कि यार content बनाया, PPT बनाया, जाके दिखा दिया, और that's over and done. Okay. For me, it is more like how does each and everything that I do transform the person's life, making it more effective.
Correct.
So that's when the first time I did Posh, I probably did it like any other trainer, just went and delivered. The second time I did it, there was a person who came up from the crowd in a corporate house. It was a very well known corporate house. I don't want to take the name of the company because for all confidentiality reasons, we don't take names of companies. But uh, there was this lady who had harassed a manager in the same company. And this manager comes up to me and tells me that, I never felt I could be so open talking to a lady like you, telling you that, I've undergone something and I wanted to share it. So may I? So I said, yes, why not? Let's have a conversation if we can help you somewhere. So we took him aside, and then we got into a room where we were trying to understand what's happened. And he actually spoke out everything what his heart could say about that he was being sexually harassed. And even though he's on a manager role, he was being subdued by this lady who's overpowering and from a very good lifestyle. And she wanted some kind of a consent from him to have some sexual intent. But he's not from that kind of a lifestyle. Now, it's very difficult for a person who's very quiet or a person who's an introvert to probably speak up, even saying that, I can't give it. So we were trying to figure out what can be done. Of course, we gave him strategies. So that was the first time. The second time, probably at a very renowned college at Mumbai, where there were these 300 to 350 students, and most people again they stand up on the stage and they keep talking, talking, talking. As trainers and coaches, we are so prone to probably showing that we have so much capability on communication and very good skills of delivering. But sometimes it's not only about the communication, it's about the impact you make on a person, on the content you provide.
Correct.
Okay, so I know a lot of young people. In fact, there are two, three students of mine also, and people who I know who are very young souls now joined. Uh, some of them are very, very good in their content, but they stop focusing on content, and when they are in social media, they start copying other brands. Okay, they start looking at, okay, this person is speaking like this, so I speak like this, and maybe people start calling me for a talk or an interview. But the thing is, they don't see how you perform only from outside. They always see what is that you can do to change their world, not your world. They are not looking at seeing how good you are, how communicative you are, how beautiful you are, or how skilled and knowledgeable you are. They are only seeing how you can provide them solutions. And when I was in this seminar of 300 students, all I did is walked up to each one of them and gave them scenarios for them to brainstorm. Okay. And every time I threw this scenario, every time they thought, every time they spoke, and the people who didn't speak, of course, were quiet but yet listened. So it still went them in their mind, right?
Planting a seed.
Yes. So उसमें क्या हुआ कि जब session खत्म हो गया, when the session was over, then this one boy who's about 17 years old comes up to me and says, uh, दीदी मुझे कुछ बोलना है आप. So I said, okay, आपको क्या बोलना है आप बताइए. तो उनने बोला यहाँ नहीं बताना है, मुझे अकेले बताना. So I said, okay, let's go. And I said, टीचर को ले लेते हैं, एचओडी को ले लेते हैं. He said, नहीं, पहले मैं बात कर लेता हूँ, फिर बुला लेता हूँ. So he spoke and he said that since 3 months he has been sexually abused, harassed by a girl in the same college. She travels with him on a public transport all the time, and she overdoes it by keeping her hands or her feet or her comfort by maybe keeping just a hand on the shoulder, sometimes keeping a leg on her leg, maybe rubbing the thighs, maybe touching on unwanted places. Uh, where she was from a very forward lifestyle and he was not from. He was from a very poor family. You can say a mid-level family, not a very very down kind of environment. But uh, again, if I see my boys in that place, is it really a good scene to think about? Because I have boys, okay, and people come up to me and say, "Oh, you don't need to worry. You have boys as children." I say we should be more worried because we have boys, because we need to teach them how to respect even their mothers, their sisters, their grannies, and every other woman who's out there. So
And
we have a very important responsibility.
I actually that brings me to a very pertinent question. Two, three. One, Rena, here you've been talking about a lot of men coming up to you and asking about this question. So when we
Yeah.
say sexual harassment, we often, without fail, think in terms of women being sexual harassed.
So I'm trying to
But
break the
if
bias there.
victim is automatically, there is a picture being painted as women, being on the receiving end. But you are right now, telling instances where boys
Yes.
and also the circumstances. So that brings me to
Yep.
my second question, or also the fact that sometimes what exactly is sexual harassment? Like, sometimes sexual harassment is not just, like, it also, it's more of a, I'm drawing it out, understand, trying to understand this, that it's mostly from the point of view from the receiver end. So if I am not comfortable, then I would consider this as harassment, even if it is a chummy behavior from somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So in
So
that
I'll
context,
define sexual harassment so you'll get that clear right in your mind.
yes,
Okay.
please.
So why I have actually taken these examples is because the first bias we carry in our mind is sexual harassment is only going to happen with women. Sexual
Correct.
harassment or the POSH Act is only for women. Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act for Women at Workplace, Act 2013, Prevention, Prohibition, Redressal, actually looks at only the dignity, rights, and the safety and equality of women, specifically at workplace. It helps only empower the aspect of a woman not getting harassed at work. Now, yes, does only a harassment happen to women? No. Does the harassment happen only man to women? No. Does the harassment happen between all genders? Yes. Does it happen man to man? Yes. It happens women to women? Yes. It happens man to women? Yes. It happens man to transgender? Yes. So anything that happens between any gender which is having a sexual intone or a connotation is called sexual harassment. Now, who is covered under the POSH Act? Anything which is happening to a woman at workplace, which is having sexually colored remarks, or which is physical contact or advances, any unwanted, unwelcome touch, feel, making you giving comment, anything of that kind, any kind of pornography, any kind of uh, quid pro quo or hostile environment. So it's like this for that. If you do this, then I will give you that. If you don't do this, then I would not give you. So it can be a promotion, it can be a welfare, it can be a rise, it can be a leadership role. It can be if you sleep with me, I do this for you, or if you don't sleep with me, if you don't come with me for a coffee, then I'll probably remove you. If you're a probationer, you will not be confirmed. It could be any of these things. So these are sexual harassment as per the five aspects in the Act, which is Section 2.2N. So, in short, if I need to know what is sexual harassment and what is harassment, I need to know two things. Is it something which is unwanted and unwelcome? So, if I probably give you a flying kiss on the call, maybe a flying kiss to somebody else is not a big thing, but it could be a very big thing to a person who is very introvert, not from that background or a lifestyle. For
Correct.
a person who's very forward, he would probably say, "Oh, this person has just given some love and care and affection on the call, and it's an Instagram call, it's a Facebook call. That's a casual place where we can chat and we can bring up insights. So it's pretty cool with me." But if it is done to you or anybody else, I'm not really sure whether you'll take it in the same way, because maybe you are from an introvert family, maybe you're not from a very forward family, maybe you don't think giving a flying kiss on an open environment of the social media is not great. So it is something that hurts you. So anything which is unwanted, unwelcome, having sexual intent is sexual harassment, specifically for women. That is being handled under POSH. बट अगर एक्ट के तहत नहीं भी आता है, we say, we need to keep equal policies, equal workspaces, neutral policies. So many companies have sexual harassment acts that are covering both men and women. But if something minor happens, men get covered. If something major happens, it doesn't come under the ICC or the in Indian Penal Code. So I got a call, so I think the Instagram got. Yeah. So anything that a man gets harassed, he can bring it up to the committee wherever he is working. But yes, if it's a minor thing, it can be conciled, it can be spoken, and it can be handled. If it's a very major thing, then it goes under the police. So FIR will be filed and you get taken.
My my following question is more in terms of current situation and school and home scenario. right? Some
Yeah.
things which are, so POSCO would take care of the school, and right now, in terms of when there are enough like online classes are being held, uh,
Mhm.
how does POSCO like take care of children's safety and on those scenarios? So does that cover the cyber security part of it? Does how does that, is there an amalgamation of sorts?
Okay, so POCSO is basically prevention of child offensive sexual harassment. Okay? So it's
Correct.
an act that takes care of any child that is between 0 to 18. So that incorporates a lot of youth, a lot of youngsters, a lot of people who are in the age of 0 to 18. Now, when you're online, there can be different ways in which you are attacked. Okay, there can be a cyber fraud, there can be a Paytm fraud, there can be a payment fraud, there can be an email fraud, there can be a social media fraud. There could be people who are there who can just say, okay, I love you, I like you, I want to meet you. Now, those kind of unwanted, unwelcome requests come under sexual abuse, sexual harassment, following people, uh, stalking people, things like that. Now, what does POCSO say is anything that is assault, anything that is pornography, anything that is penetrative or aggravated sex happen to a child, and any form of sexual abuse and harassment. तो आप कोई भी चीज अनवांटेड करो जो ऑनलाइन है या ऑफलाइन है बच्चों के साथ, यूथ के साथ, वो आता है पॉक्सो के तहत. अब ऑफकोर्स हम लोग मिलते तो नहीं है बिकॉज स्कूल्स आर शट नाउ, दे आर ऑन वेकेशन, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. बट सपोज दे आर इन अ मीटिंग and the teacher gives some kind of a flying kiss that the child doesn't like, or if there is some kind of a sex talk, or there's some kind of um, a very stale joke that these boys or girls are discussing, okay, which another child doesn't like, okay, and they might start showing some kind of pornographic photographs, or they might be sharing some magazine pictures or something. Now, unless until the teacher's not there, the teacher would not know. But if one of the child is over there and doesn't like it, it can be filed under POCSO. Now, POCSO can only, POSH, POCSO, sexual harassment, all these things can be only filed when somebody brings up the case and smiles. Okay, it's not like अगर मैंने देखा आपने देखा लेकिन हम कंप्लेन नहीं लेके आते हैं लिखत में, then it cannot be filed or cannot be
हियरसे
acted
पे
upon.
नहीं हो सकता.
Yes. Cyber security more is on the aspect of you stealing some kind of password, stealing some kind of information, making uh, pornographic form of an adult, more on
um, is it me or
I'm there. I don't know what
yes,
happened.
yes, yes, I wasn't sure, is it my lab or
Yeah, no, no, I don't know. Suddenly it just got off, but that's fine. I think technology is something that we need to embrace now. These technology
make
constraints will
peace
also,
with right now.
absolutely. So what I was saying is for cyber fraud, we generally see it as email fraud, phone fraud, somebody trying to hack you down, somebody trying to hack your entire identity down, somebody trying to put you down by giving some kind of dirty or negative comments. See, writing negative comments in social media doesn't prove that you are right or somebody else is wrong. Even if somebody has done something wrong to you, if you want to make people aware about something, then writing or bringing it up makes sense. Otherwise, you should directly be going to the source of the person who can help you. Like if somebody has done something wrong, you either go to police or you go to cyber security cell. लेकिन अगर वो नहीं कुछ कर रहे, then probably putting it out on social media makes sense. Secondly, it's become so easy nowadays for people to approach people on social media. For example, you go on Facebook, you go on LinkedIn, it's become like another uh, coffee shop. Okay, because you don't have coffee shops now. So people are so openly going to the messenger or going to the private chat and probably writing that, you're a pleasing personality, you're a beautiful face, how can you be so skilled, how can you be so amazing, how have you done so many, is there any other certifications that you've not done? I mean, I get to see all these kind of comments of my clients who come up to me and say, this person is actually hacking me down every day and it's painful. And I don't understand, why should you do this if you really like somebody? Number one. Number two, if you are approaching somebody to actually get them in your life, this is not the way. Thirdly, if you are hacking down people, then probably you're messing with the wrong things, because I think law, cybercrime, and everything is very, very vigilant today because everything
Correct.
is online. So even the cyber security crime cell has become much more alert. Okay. The other thing was doxing. Doxing means if you go online, you can change somebody else's photo to somebody else's identity.
That
तो
is
ये सब
one thing.
चीजें,
Yeah,
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
that happened to a known person of mine. She was 17 when it happened to her. Her entire profile got hijacked, and and this person started collecting money on her behalf.
correct.
And I mean,
Yeah,
she
it's
was
very
such a
easy to fraud nowadays
very,
that you
yeah,
can do. But nowadays, at least that time, we could not track down because of the multiple LAN and WAN networks. But now, cyber crime has able to crack that also, and they have methodologies by which they can find out who does it. So the occurrence of the crime is little less. Now, with regards to POXO, how it happens is only when kids don't know what is POXO and they are just going with the flow of their friends who are corrupt minds or don't know what's right and wrong. Because the parents have never taught them what is right and wrong, in short. Okay, we don't have criminals getting born. We have criminals getting made because of circumstances and environment when they have not been guided in the right path at the right time. So it is our duty that if something wrong like that is happening, the first step is prevention. The
correct.
first step is making the child, however young he is, understand that what you've done is not right. You should stop, and it is quite serious that you stop it now, either now or never. So
Absolutely.
the first step is to take it a little slow and not directly go to the police, directly go and complain. Even in the people's society groups, I have seen a lot of people suddenly come and say, इसने मेरे बच्चे का फोटो डाल दिया क्योंकि मेरे बच्चे ने इसके साथ मस्ती किया और इसका ये किया वो किया and all that, and I'm like, पहले तो आप उनको समझा दो कि उन्होंने जो किया है वो गलत किया. दूसरा, आपको किसी के भी बच्चे का फोटो उठा के ऐसे ग्रुप में डालने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप पहले उनसे जाके बात करें, उनको
People have
समझाएं
stopped
कि
doing that.
उनके
Yes,
बच्चे ने
absolutely.
गलत किया. See, because most of the parents don't even know what their kids are doing. Half of them are on laptops, half of them are on live, half of them are doing interviews, half of them are doing HR work and people in the company. So they can't be looking at whatever the child is doing all the time. But you have to take out time during the day to talk to your kids. Be there with them, understand what they are doing, with whom they are sitting, what is the thing that they are uh, understanding of the different conversations, what type of conversations are happening, what kind of friendships they hold, who are the people they are sitting or getting up with, and are they safe? Are they not sharing any kind of social media passwords, usernames, credit card numbers, any of their photographs? Because anybody can use their photographs to probably provide to stalkers abroad or across borders. So all those things you can sit, engage, talk to your child, and tell them that things like this. If you hear, if you ever feel, if have you ever heard of smoking and drugs and cigarettes and all that? Because if you're not going to bring it up, they will any which ways know from somewhere.
That's
And if
exactly the point. I think parents also need to bring up their vigilance, and if anything, communication is the key, especially now that the online worlds have opened like anything, and everybody, like you said, have their own small worlds in their own small laptops or tabs or mobiles, and they don't have any other option.
And you
Um,
can't control holding devices from children. That's not
Correct.
at all
Yes.
possible
So,
because
we almost towards the end. So, just a quick last question. We've already spoken about strengthening the communications, but what else can we do right now to ensure? Because right now there are people who are in, ensuring safe space within the household, but not everybody is as um, lucky, I would say, or as blessed to have a very safe atmosphere within the four walls of the household. Um, what is your advice for them?
okay. So when we talk about safe workspaces, safe home spaces, safe educative spaces for children and also for the adults, safe workspaces is not the duty of only the mother. Let me first clear that. Okay, the mother is not always the hunter or the हथौड़ा लेके घूमने वाली कि बच्चे को हैंडल करने वाली मदर ही होगी और गलत करने वाला अगर कुछ होगा तो मदर ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल है.
Correct.
Okay, safe workspaces, safe home spaces, and safe enjoyable spaces is the duty of both the mother, the father, and the family. Now, yes, the extended family may or may not be responsible, but they can at least create that calm and beautiful environment by maybe whatever they do in the morning. Now, it could be starting with a calm yoga in the morning or a little meditation or probably a dance therapy. Or a lot of people enjoy yoga, Zumba, salsa, whatever you enjoy, start that. If you don't even want to do too many of the things, just do 12 pranayamas or 12 Surya Namaskar. Okay. I think we all three have mats in my family and we all do that in the morning. After that, we go out and take sun rays. Fortunately, I have a balcony. I have three balconies. So, we can sit and take some sun rays along with a breeze and enjoy our coffee, tea, whatever. Then there should be some kind of a me time to retrospect what did I do yesterday and what is my plan for today. So a to-do list for everybody is important, including the child. What am I going to do? And how am I going to spend the time? Whether you read, whether you spend time on coding, whether you spend time on music, whether you want to play, whether you are okay with gadgets, everything has to have an equivalent space. Okay? You cannot have 3 hours of office and 2 hours of cycling, but only 20 minutes of reading. But at least uh, some balance over there, along with a little important aspect that you're taking your multivitamins, you're inhaling your breath of air, you're taking your maybe some people like inhaling a lot of hot water, some kind of a soothing exercise, or probably switching on some kind of a Buddha or a musical activity that will help your child to calm down because gadgets, enjoyment, Zoom, technology, everything is going to only work them up.
Correct.
At the same time, now they are indoors. Not a lot of them want to go out to play because the fear is always there. So to avoid the fear, either you spend time, or your husband spends time, or your family spends time with the child. Otherwise, the child will go into the shell of um, only going back to the technology resources. That could be the phone, the iPad, the laptop, or anything else. Because he doesn't know what to do. You playing with a football or a ball or a game all on your own if you don't have a sibling. And even if they are siblings, they will get bored over a period of time because it's not like every day you're innovating. If you are innovating, then it has to be in the kitchen, it has to be in the hall, it has to be in the room. So I basically pick up one space where they want to spend the day. Okay, for example, Saturday and Sunday is the day when you need to spend your time in the kitchen. Whether father and son is cooking whatsoever, I'm totally okay with it. Okay, I am not going to enter the kitchen. You are going to cook the evening meal or the afternoon meal or the morning meal, and you're going to bake something together and come out. But
Makes
you need to
sense.
spend
Yeah.
that time in the kitchen together with probably the dad and the son. It's okay if they miss the kitchen, but I think exploration is the only way that they can get creative. And you don't have to push them to any kind of classes all the time. If they don't really want to get into a dance class or an exercise class or a Zumba class or a guitar class or a piano class or a Zoom class or an, I don't know, the school gives you an umpteen number of classes of for engagement. But that's totally okay if the child gets up and says, Mama, I don't want to go for any class. I'm totally fine with something like that. Okay. as far as you give a clarity that am I playing with clay or with kitchen utensils, or am I going back to my books, or am I doing something productive, or am I maybe just writing something? I can get creative writing an article. I can just do a handwriting preparation. I can just go back to my books and see. I can read a newspaper. I can bring up some new words from the thesaurus or from the dictionary. I can probably do something innovative with the yoga mat or the dumbbells or whatever it is. So it could be different things that can be given to them, but it all depends what is the lifestyle that the family carries. So I don't really think it's one fit for all. It doesn't work for us. It may work for you. Okay. So
Absolutely, and you very rightly said that it's a joint responsibility of the parents together and not just a single parent, not just a mother. Thank you
yeah,
so much, Raina, for coming online, for talking to us, and for talking us about, especially about sexual harassment, and that anyone who faces it finds it uncomfortable, an unwelcome touch, an unwelcome comment, unwanted feeling is termed in on of a sexual connotation is known as the sexual harassment. That is an insight, is irrespective of gender, is what was very helpful for us. Thank you so much, and I hope it was helpful. And hopefully, we will meet again in future. Again, thank you so much.
thank you so much, guys. And yes, thank you,
Bye
Nupur.
bye.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Bye bye.